Hi, it's Kelly from Breakfast at Kelly's, and today we're going to be scoring sourdough. I am obsessed with flours, and lately, since we've been in quarantine, I've actually become obsessed with sourdough. So today what you're going to need for scoring your sourdough is your risen loaf of sourdough. Mine's just tucked in this bowl. You are going to need some sunflower seeds, all-purpose flour. You are supposed to use corn flour, so if you have it, great. If not, I do use all-purpose and I find it works out just fine. And then just a little bit of water. This is going to help your sunflower seeds stick. You're also going to need something round to mark out the center of your flour, some floss just to help with the straight lines, and then a sharp knife. I use an X-Acto knife. If you have a bread lame already, you can use that. I picked this one up at Superstore and I use it specifically just for scoring sourdough, and it's worked great. It was like $2. But let's get to scoring some sourdough. Okay, so I just have my dough sitting on a piece of parchment paper. You want to make sure you have parchment paper because this is what you're going to be dropping it into your Dutch oven with. Anyways, from here I have this just sitting on a Lazy Susan on this white plate, and then with the parchment paper right over top. First step, you're going to take a little bit of flour, sprinkle it all over your loaf, and then just spread it around. You want it to be nice and white. If you have corn flour, like I said, great. If not, all-purpose flour does do the job as well. Okay, so from here, I just used, it's one of the tops of those lip chaps. It's from an older one, and I've used this for my flower designs before. You're gonna just map out the center of your sourdough, and then just make a little imprint. This is just making a map for you for where you're gonna have the center of your flour. From here, take a cut piece of dental floss, and you're gonna be making 4 marks across, so there's gonna be 8 sections. And you don't need to cut into the sourdough, this is just a map. Okay, so now from here, you're gonna take your sharp knife and you're gonna cut from the outside of the flour to about 1 inch across. So from here, you can flour your knife and just stick it into your sourdough, probably about 1/4 inch, and drag it across. If you have a bread lame, it works much better, but for all of us DIYers at home, this definitely does the trick. Okay, so I went all the way around my sourdough, and now from here, I'm gonna be connecting these pieces. So probably another inch or so out, you're just gonna connect it into that diamond shape, I guess. You're gonna wanna make sure that you get all the way to the corner, and then just keep moving on to the next section. Now typically when you score sourdough, if you have a bread lame, you want to make like a nice swift cut. Unfortunately, with an X-Acto knife, you kind of have to saw away at it. Okay, so now you can see it's all cut out. Now from here, you're gonna take a pair of sharper scissors. If you have kitchen scissors, great. If not, just make sure you clean your regular scissors. And you're gonna be cutting the tips of the flour. I go probably, I'd say 1/4 inch or so, 1/2 inch maybe, underneath. And what that's gonna do is once you cut underneath that petal, it's gonna lift that petal up when it's baking, which is gonna separate it from the loaf, which is literally gonna look like a 3D flower on top of your sourdough. So I'm just gonna cut right underneath here. You can lift up just to make sure it's actually doing that. Perfect, so now that that's done, you're gonna take a little bit of water and just dab it down onto the center of your flour. And this is gonna help your sunflower seeds stick to your loaf. So just make sure you get it just right on the center part there. And then from here, take your sunflower seeds and sprinkle them right on top. Now you don't actually have to use sunflower seeds. You can use poppy seeds if you prefer. I really want to make a jalapeno cheddar loaf, and I was thinking about putting the cheese and the jalapenos just on the center. Smooth those over. But you can be creative. Depending on the flavor of your loaf, you can basically use anything. Okay, so now we're ready. We can just pick up the edges and transfer it right into our Dutch oven. How I cook mine is I cook it with the lid on for 20 minutes, and then I remove the lid and it cooks for an additional 40 minutes. So, see you in 40 minutes.